The misbehavior is defined very general, defined like unpredictable way or something like that. But here I target, research target on a specific time of behavioral risk where misbehavior is defined as deviation from deontic relation. I mean, if you have an obligation to do and you not fulfill the obligation, then there is a deontic risk for the counterparty. Okay. So deontic fraud is when the party receives order about such deviation. You have an obligation to fulfill, to do certain thing, you don't do it, and you receive order that you do it. So there's a combination, this is a deontic risk, and after that is a deception, which becomes a deontic fraud. So in inter-organizational business, because most of the deontic relations are evident by document. In inter-organizational relationship, it's not just about like a spoken promise and so forth. The promise reflects in form of a contract, a right to possession of goods reflected in forms of a paper, bill plating, or an electronic record, and so on. So in inter-organizational relationship, deontic relation reflects in forms of a document. A document here is not just about a paper. A document maybe is a computer record and so on. Because of the deontic relation reflecting in form of document, deontic fraud takes place when there is an inconsistency between deontic relation and its documentary evidence. For instance, when you have a right to deliver goods, and the other one has an obligation to fulfill your right, by some way or somehow, the other person has an evidence that they have fulfilled the obligation, even though they're not.
Go to the previous slide. Can you use this slide? Red pointer here.
Here we have it. A pointer.
Somewhere. I'm trying to sort of simplify this argument because you're kind of, the point you're making is not that hard and it makes it sound too difficult. Here. Suppose the
This slide, or
you can. This is when it's working correctly. Okay?
yes.
But suppose you have now an imitation of. You have an imitation procedure. So you have a fourth one. Suppose you have a fourth one, and it points to nothing. I'm trying to get you somehow to simplify. In the next slide, it's got too many words and not enough graphics. And you could make the point about having a fake procedure that doesn't point to a deontic reality. I mean, a fraud is something that pretends to be a documentary procedure.
Right. I get your point. Maybe.
You know, like the fake ATM or the fake policeman or the fake.
Yeah. Right. A simple one. But when we when we do here, we immediately bring out the Petrinet, and I haven't introduced about that yet.
No, that's why I was trying to do something
informal.
Think of it as a documentary procedure that points to a question mark. In your previous slide, Here you've got the arrows going like this. Basically, what a fraud is a documentary procedure that is not generated by a deontic process.
Yeah, inconsistent with the deontic process. Right.
Is there a difference between inconsistent and what Professor D is saying?
Sure.
It's a different deontic. So not being backed up by this deontic process, or pointing back to a different deontic process. Is there a difference?
Right. Right. I
Think of
it-
counterfeit money.
Mhm.
Think of making a photocopy of the dollar bill, reading a color copy of a dollar bill.
Mhm.
It's not a new dollar bill.
Right. Right. But there are sometimes the inconsistency
I'm
from
trying to keep it simple here.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
keep it moving ahead.
Right.
I don't want to introduce deep discussions at this point, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
As you're-
I see your
as you're-
point. I see your point.
this next slide, you know, the details are getting too heavy and you need to lighten it up.
Right. This man is a little bit more healthy. The main thing here is the main argument for this slide is this one. This sentence. This sentence is, I want to
Here.
bring the
Make it really simple. There's a famous painting that has something like this, and it says, "This is not a dollar." Just put it at the bottom of the slide. Counterfeit money captures the idea. Just
Yeah.
to lighten it up just a little bit. Forget about this painting. I'll put that in.
right.
But just put this. Go look under Google image, type in dollar. You'll certainly find a picture of a dollar bill. And
Yeah.
just put it in your slide and say, this is not a dollar. That gets the idea across.
Right.
And just put it at the bottom of this
Okay.
slide.
Okay.
So they get the message of what all these words are trying to say.
Okay. So should we position the focus of the dissertation? The slide here is like position a specific type of bridge that we focus here. The main argument here is about what kind of bridge you mentioned about focus of the geometric plot that we try to
Geometric
prevent in
plot.
the research. The control is again this kind of plot.
So maybe you want to state it in so many words that this is the focus of this study. So it's like,
That's what he said on in the intro actually. He said the objective was
Kinds of fraud that we say here, you see. Here's the more detailed objective. Develop a
Deontic
fraud.
fraud versus other kinds of fraud?
No,
Is there any
I
other
don't
kind of
cover
fraud?
other kinds of fraud.
There
Deontic
are
risk. You talked about deontic risk.
And the optic fraud right on that slide. You see? The optic grid and
What
fraud.
other, is there any other kind of fraud?
Sure, I just mentioned there are lots of kind of fraud here.
There's a risk. That's risk, it's
Yeah,
not
risk.
fraud. Environmental risk is not a fraud. Behavioral risk,
Sure. Maybe there are something that are not prescribed by any regulation. Here, the kinds of thing is that you behave deviate from the thing that's specified by regulation or rule. There are sometimes it's not. You see that it's not just like some moral principle and so on. You need to respect the order. You see, you make a fraud. That's kind of thing that there are no rule or maybe there are no specific contract that govern that kind of behavior. You not respect the order, however you deceive the order that I respect your model or I respect your professor and so on. You see? So the thing is that not on behavior, you see the main thing is the misbehavior. But not on misbehavior.
So not all misbehavior is fraud, but, right, you can misbehave in ways that are not fraudulent, right?
Yes.
I can go and throw some water on you. Well, I was misbehaving, but it's not fraudulent.
That's right.
But it seems like fraud is a fairly clear, that fraud is, deontic fraud is the same as fraud. I can't imagine a non-deontic fraud.
Yeah,
no,
I
yeah,
tried.
because
right?
he explained that the ontic. Oh, you haven't explained that, right?
No, I tried. That's the argument I tried to make here.
Mhm.
Here is the fraud in the general sense.
Fraud, okay.
And here is the deontic fraud.
yeah, but what other fraud is there?
Right, so I try to explain. Okay, the fraud, the component of the fraud is that there is a misbehavior in general. Misbehavior in general. And there is a deception about such misbehavior in order to gain some interest or to hurt the other or hurt the victim. Right? And the misbehavior here, there is a portion, a subset of misbehavior is misbehavior against rule. Again, rule and norm and so forth, but explicitly specified.